Garoppolo makes a lot of sense, guys. It's significant interest from the Las Vegas Raiders. Jimmy Garoppolo as potentially their next starting quarterback, and this should really not be a surprise.
I gotta admit, I may have failed at my job a little bit, because in my mind, I thought, okay, March 15th is when NFL free agency officially begins. So you can imagine my surprise when I woke up this morning and I found out that there's a legal tampering period that players could agree to contracts on. It's not something that I wasn't aware of, it's just something that kind of slips underneath the cracks here and there, and sometimes I'm completely oblivious to it. So yeah, we got a free agency frenzy a few days earlier, which means this is going to be a very fun day. And we're going to start out with one of the biggest deals of the day so far, where the Las Vegas Raiders clearly replaced Derek Carr. So before we get to the content, this is going to be our first of many uploads today. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. And also, comment whatever transaction you want me to cover next today. Whichever gets the most upvotes in the comment section is the transaction that we'll cover next on this channel. Now that we get all that out of the way, work! So I've made almost $5,000 playing this game over the past couple months and posting my picks and selections onto my Instagram story for you guys to follow them. And the game that I'm obviously talking about is Prize Picks. Right now, when you use my promo code Mikerophone, they'll match up to $100 of your initial deposit with another $100. And it's been a lot of fun. I mean, yesterday I had Killian Hayes getting less than 21 points, rebounds, and assists. You went into the third quarter with 18, and he finished the game with 20.5. I can't tell you how euphoric that feeling was when I saw that I was able to make $210 off of a pick that came within 0.5 of not hitting. So if you want to check out Prize Picks, make sure you use my promo code Mikerophone for a free 100% deposit match up to $100. And follow me on Instagram if you want to follow my picks on Instagram. Mike check 1212. What's going on, everybody? We have been covering the Las Vegas Raiders quarterback situation quite extensively on this YouTube channel. And to be honest, I thought this was one of the most bizarre scenarios I think I've ever covered on this YouTube channel. We recently did a recap on the Henry Ruggs situation, where we brought you a gigantic update as to how his court proceedings are coming along. And it kind of makes you reminisce about how horrible of a year that was for the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, from the Henry Ruggs tragedy to John Gruden's emails getting leaked out to Damon Arnett posting a video of him flashing a weapon, which meant the Las Vegas Raiders needed to turn to Rich Bisaccia as their interim head coach in an effort to potentially make it to the playoffs. Bear in mind, they're in a division with the Los Angeles Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs. And somehow, some way, through the leadership of Derek Carr, who said this about the Henry Ruggs situation.
Did I not let him know that he really could, I'd be there for him at 3 a.m. I want to be better. He needs people to love him right now. He's probably feeling a certain type of way about himself right now, and he needs to be loved. And if no one else will do it, I'll do it.
And said this about John Gruden.
So it wasn't me, but I still feel the pain because I love that man so much. At some point, hopefully people forgive him.
You want there to be some healing. You want him to be welcomed back at some point.
And I don't know at what capacity that is, but just so he can live life,
Through Derek Carr's leadership, the Las Vegas Raiders were able to make an appearance in the NFL playoffs. And then they decided to move on from Rich Bisaccia, but they decided to give Derek Carr a remarkable 3-year extension. That included a no-trade clause. They brought in another head coach for Derek Carr he had adjusted and acclimated to. And they also traded for Derek Carr's best friend during his days at Fresno State, Vontae Adams. Raiders were supposed to see a huge jump this year. Yeah, they traded Yannick Ngakoue, they brought in Chandler Jones, but for the most part, you could agree that they were supposed to take a huge jump, but they didn't. With Josh McDaniels and Derek Carr, they took a couple steps back. Within a year of signing Derek Carr to that contract extension, the Las Vegas Raiders kicked him to the curb like he was a piece of trash, after he literally carried that franchise through a horrific season the year prior, when the Raiders could have been considered to be a huge laughingstock. And through Derek Carr's perseverance, they were able to swing a trade and get a player of of Davante Adams' caliber to leave Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers to come to the Raiders. No one really thinks of that. Well, 2 weeks before the season ended, the Raiders decided to move on from Derek Carr, and letting the entire NFL know that they're out of the Derek Carr business. They wanted a brand new quarterback. We talk about it on this channel all the time. A brand new front office, a brand new head coach will typically want a brand new quarterback, unless if the previous quarterback was remarkable. And in Derek Carr's case, he was just average. So at the time when the Raiders decided to move on from Derek Carr, everyone assumed that they were going to pursue Tom Brady. Tom Brady and Josh McDaniels were going to reunite. You're going to see Tom Brady throwing footballs to Davante Adams. It's going to be awesome. Oh my God, Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes twice a year. That's going to be great. Yeah, Tom Brady retired, and it looks like he's staying retired. There were those rumors linking him to the Miami Dolphins, but the Miami Dolphins just exercised a 5th-year option on Tua. They're all in on Tua's rookie scale contract. They just traded for Jalen Ramsey. We made a video on that yesterday. So one has to wonder, what are the Raiders doing at this point? They have the 7th pick in the NFL draft, but the Carolina Panthers leapfrogged over them, and they have the number 1 pick. They need a quarterback. The Texans have the number 2 overall pick. They need a quarterback. The Arizona Cardinals have the number 3 overall pick. They need a quarterback. Well, I'm just throwing shade, Cardinals fans, not really. But the Indianapolis Colts, 4th overall pick. They need a quarterback. The Seattle Seahawks have the 5th pick, and it seems like Geno Smith is their bridge quarterback. He even said that he doesn't mind mentoring a quarterback throughout the next 3 seasons. The man is just really happy that he got a $105 million contract. Good for Geno. And it seems like the Seahawks and Anthony Richardson are already like really tight. When you consider the Raiders are now at the 7th overall pick, and the fact that the Las Vegas Raiders may not be willing to pay the price to move up to the number 3 spot with Arizona in order to draft a quarterback that they like, then they only have one option and one option only: turning to NFL free agency. They already stated before that they're out of the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes, and to be honest, a part of me is a little confused that we didn't get an Aaron Rodgers decision yet, because at this point one would assume that the New York Jets and the Green Bay Packers need some clarity about their future so they could properly construct their teams. That's a side note here, because we now have an understanding as to what the future of the Las Vegas Raiders is going to look like at the quarterback position. And to be honest, if you're a Raiders fan, you probably feel some type of way about this. So according to Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport, there was interest between Jimmy Garoppolo and the Las Vegas Raiders and the Houston Texans earlier today. One would assume that if he went to the Houston Texans, it would just be to be a backup to whoever the Texans decide to draft with the number 2 overall pick. So it looks like this is a no-brainer for Jimmy G, considering the fact that his old offensive coordinator that he spent some time with in New England, Josh McDaniels, is the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. It seems pretty obvious which direction this was going to go. And according to Adam Schefter, former 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo is signing with the Las Vegas Raiders per Diana Rossini and Adam Schefter. Garoppolo played for the Raiders head coach Josh McDaniels in New England, and they now reunite in Las Vegas. The Raiders would be giving the former 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo a 3-year, $67.5 million deal, including $34 million guaranteed per source. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you this was a horrible decision. I'm not here to tell you this was a huge mistake. I'm not here to say this was a bad deal at all. As a matter of fact, the year and $67.5 million for a quarterback is about like $22.5 million per year. With $34 million guaranteed, that's one hell of a price to pay for a quarterback. When you consider the fact that my core philosophy for building a team primarily involves not overpaying your QB, this is a steal. I think this is a remarkable contract for any quarterback. Hell, I would even give them an A+ for this contract had they have not signed Derek Carr to a contract extension last year and then needed to cut him halfway through that contract extension this year, because now they're taking an unnecessary cap hit and they can't really reap the benefits of this deal. But that aside, this contract conveys a couple of things. It means that the Raiders probably are going to be gunning for a brand new quarterback in the NFL draft, and they have Jimmy G there just in case. At the very worst, Jimmy Garoppolo may serve as a mentor to maybe Will Levis, maybe Anthony Richardson, maybe CJ Stroud, maybe Bryce Young. Who knows who's going to fall to them? Or maybe Jimmy Garoppolo is going to go in this year as the de facto quarterback. Maybe he is the guy that could execute Josh McDaniels' scheme perfectly. Maybe he is the one that is to unite with Davante Adams and bring this Raiders offense to excellence. I think if you lean on Davante Adams and Josh Jacobs and you could execute Josh McDaniels' scheme to perfection, maybe there's something there. I will admit it's a little bit more underwhelming than trading for a player like Aaron Rodgers or signing Tom Brady. And And this isn't to disrespect Jimmy Garoppolo at all. It's just, you went through all of this commotion. You went through cutting Derek Carr and casting him aside in the manner that you did, just so you could go from Derek Carr to Jimmy Garoppolo. And I guess on paper, it's not exciting at all, but I will admit Jimmy Garoppolo is a significant upgrade over Derek Carr, especially the Derek Carr of last year. But what you're pretty much getting is what Derek Carr was in his prime. As a matter of fact, if you look at Jimmy G's completion percentage and his passing yards, and you compare it to Derek Carr in his prime, you're getting a slight downgrade, if anything. And again, Derek Carr might not be in his prime anymore. We're talking about the Derek Carr of 2021 or the Derek Carr of 2020 when he threw for 27 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, or 23 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. And when you compare that to Jimmy G's last full season under center, let's say 2021, he threw for 20 touchdowns and 12 interceptions and over 3,800 yards, whereas Derek Carr threw for over 4,800 yards with 23 touchdowns and 14 interceptions in that very year with a 68% completion percentage. So I don't necessarily know how Raiders fans feel about this, because you're essentially getting 2020 and 2021 Derek Carr at best here, and you took a significant cap hit to do it because you had to release Derek Carr like right in the beginning of his contract extension, but at least you're not paying Jimmy G a significant amount to do it. I think the overall grade of this deal is going to have to come down to what role is Jimmy G going to play for the Las Vegas Raiders? Is he going to be there to mentor the next quarterback? Is he going to be there to be a bridge quarterback to the next quarterback? I'm assuming it's the second one. I don't necessarily know if the Raiders are going to draft a QB in this year's NFL draft, and I don't think they have to. You could roll with Jimmy G for a year, and if you guys stink, next year's quarterback class looks pretty damn good. You got Caleb Williams coming in, Shador Sanders coming in, Quinn Ewers is coming in, Spencer Rattler is coming in. But you get what I'm saying. If you're a Raiders fan, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this move. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.